In this 25th anniversary year of September 11th, the Tunnel to Towers Foundation continues to honor America's heroes. Heroes like Fire Lieutenant Michael Wells, who was inspired by 9/11 to serve his community. After 14 dedicated years of service, he lost his battle with occupational cancer, leaving behind his wife, Katie, and their 3 children. Tunnel to Towers honored Lieutenant Wells by paying off the family's mortgage in recognition of his sacrifices. Donate $11 monthly and amplify your impact with a car or land donation. Go to T2T.org.
In the squadron, they called him Bullets, but we call him Greg Kelly. Greg Kelly is on the air
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Hey, we're only 2 hours away from King Charles's big speech. Hello, I'm the king. I don't intend to watch it. I can't believe everyone's telling me the king is here. The king is here. What a big deal. Yeah, I don't like the way he was mean to Diana, to be honest. I can't get over that one. Maybe if he, I don't know. I feel like he jerked Diana around. He never loved her. You never loved Diana. Remember? What the hell do they have in common either? She was 19. He was 32, right? A bit of a stiff. She was kind of, I don't know. Loved to party, loved the nightlife. This guy likes a good book. And he liked getting it on with Camilla, even back then. So I'm not going to lose my mind that the king is here. Yeah, I remember when Diana died. And I like Diana. I remember her as a 12-year-old. And she was 19. And she was in the news all the time. And I developed a bit of a fondness for her. But then I got over it. And then I grew up and never really thought about the royals again until she died. When Diana died, she was on the cover of Time magazine 4 weeks in a row. And I'm like, am I hallucinating here? I mean, I don't think anyone's ever heard her talk. I mean, where are our priorities? What the fame? That's when I really, that solidified. We are a fame-obsessed culture. And there's something very strange about human beings. It's programmed into us to, I don't know what it is, but this kind of over-exaggerated admiration for people who are perceived as high status or high achieving. Now, often they may have high status, but it's not high achievement. Now, I looked into this a little bit. There's a gene. It's a primal thing going on in our psyche. It goes all the way back to the caveman days. So when we were cavemen and women, there were a couple of people in the tribe there who were really good at hunting, right? Really good. They were the best hunters. And they were the ones who had the highest status. And they were the ones who, were well known and respected in the tribe. And people wanted to be close to those guys. Now, why do they want to be close to those guys? Because they might get food. Because they may have protection, right? It kind of makes sense. So people have been drawn. It's in our nature. But the thing is different here because we're not drawn to people who can do anything for us. These people aren't going to share any of the food with us. They're going to keep it all for themselves. There's no way to benefit from someone else's fame. Anyway, just a little bit on this obsession that's still in effect. The king is wearing a suit. King Charles. And I see everybody's hanging on. They can't look at this. It's all of Washington, D.C. I guess this is the British ambassador's backyard. And everybody is there to meet the king. I wonder if anybody is bringing up Diana and then that matter. All right. More importantly, Todd Blanche, acting attorney general. Why is he so emphatically, again, praising law enforcement when this was a monumental screw-up? I know why, actually, because people feel intimidated and they don't, Todd Blanche is a lawyer. He never carried a gun. And I'm telling you, Todd, it shouldn't really matter. Leadership is not always doing what's popular. It's doing what's right. And sometimes the right thing is not popular. Sometimes the right thing is awkward. Sometimes the right thing is hard. A lot of the times, actually. And just looking at Saturday night and saying, everybody did a great job, the president's still alive. No, that doesn't cut it. That doesn't cut it. All right, so I want to take this again from the top. This is the Attorney General, Todd Blanche, and you can hear the emotion in his voice. And they all decided to do this in unison. And I think something is up with that. Cut 12, please. Cut 12.
I want to make this clear. This man was a floor above the ballroom with hundreds of federal agents between him and the President of the United States. The Department of Justice approaches incidents like this with urgency and clarity of purpose. Violence has no place in civic life. It cannot and will not be used to disrupt democratic institutions or intimidate those who serve them, and it certainly cannot continue to be used against the President of the United States. We are investigating this matter fully. We will apply the law fairly, and we will ensure that accountability is swift and certain. But we also should recognize what did not happen. Law enforcement did not fail. They did exactly what they are trained to do. This was not an accident. It was the result, as we know now, of preparation. But the men and women who protected us that night were trained, professional, and had an enduring commitment to the rule of law. Today, the Department of Justice filed 3 federal charges in United States District Court
just real
against
quick on
Cole Thomas.
Why? I don't even think it's his call. He's always talking about what I can comment on, what I can't comment on. Secret Service doesn't report to him. Who told him to say that and why? Now, it may have come from the chief of staff, may even come from the president. But this is bigger than the president. This is bigger than him. We the people, we're the ones, we're the clients here. And nobody should be satisfied with what happened the other night. Keep going, please. Keep going.
Allen. The first count is attempted assassination of the President of the United States. This count is punishable by up to life in prison. The second count is interstate transportation of a firearm to commit a felony. This is punishable by up to 10 years in prison. And the third count is discharge of a firearm during a crime of violence, which is punishable by a mandatory minimum term of imprisonment of 10 years, a maximum of life, and the 10 years is consecutive to any other sentence imposed.
Well, law enforcement didn't fail, huh? You sure about that, pal? It's not really relevant, your opinion on that, actually. You shouldn't be talking about it. Now, here is Jeanine Pirro. She's doing great down there, isn't she, as the assistant? No, not assistant. She is the U.S. attorney. Cut 13, please. Cut 13.
So any suggestion that he wasn't there to do harm is absurd. We will prove when he purchased these guns, they were purchased in California.
Now, who's trying to say that he wasn't there to do harm? Barack Obama. Barack Obama is kind of trying to obscure that. Barack Obama, we shouldn't rest our judgment on this matter. Barack, how's that $1 billion temple doing in Chicago? You see, there was a bit of an uprising in Chicago on the South Side. Nobody likes that weird tombstone-like looking facility, whatever it is. It's a museum, a monument to Barack Obama. It is so weird. It looks a little bit satanic, and I wouldn't put it past him. Something satanic. That man is not. That man is not. I don't want to say anything else, because do I really know it? Well, in my heart, I might know it, right? Can I point to this evidence and that evidence? No, but I know. And sooner or later, we'll have the evidence. Excuse me. Sooner or later, we will have the evidence. Now, a couple of more things on Saturday night, the Secret Service failure. This is the Secret Service boss, Curran. This is his name, Sean Curran, Curran. And it's very interesting what he says and how he says it. All right? Hit it.
My name is Sean Curran. I'm the director of the Secret Service. Tonight, we saw exactly what our brave men and women do each and every day to protect our protectees. It's not easy, and I will tell you that they performed admirably.
Stop. You heard the second part? It's not easy. Right off the bat, he's complaining about what a tough job he has. It's not easy. This is the bureaucracy defending the bureaucracy. Now, the bureaucracy, every now and then, they'll get somebody, that's warm and cuddly and cute and brave. Brave. He's brave. I saw him on that stage in Butler, Pennsylvania. He was the guy with the dark glasses. They all had dark glasses on, but you can tell which one Sean Curran is, right? Same guy. He was on stage. Bullets are done flying. I mean, President Trump should have been off that stage way earlier, but internally he's considered a hero, and he is, I guess, kinda. I don't know. I actually don't know. What is a hero these days? What is a hero? A hero in my book is somebody who does something for others at tremendous risk to themselves, where not taking action would be a perfectly honorable step, right? You see, if you're the Secret Service agent and bullets start flying, it's your job to do that. If you don't do it, you're a coward, right? If you don't do it, you're negligent. So does that make doing it heroic? I don't know if it does, to be honest. I'll put myself in this situation. I remember flying off of an aircraft carrier, and I was very brave, especially at night, right? You could say that was brave. It certainly wasn't heroic, and nobody called me a hero. But if I didn't do it, would that have been acceptable? No, I was being paid. I was in uniform. They paid for all that training. At the moment of truth, I'm gonna stay in my bunk bed. I had no option, and I don't think these guys had an option. There's a difference. The heroism is more than doing your job. It's something bigger than that. But I find it interesting that right away he says, take it from the top one more time, then we're going to listen to the whole thing. Because there are some weird ideas that he has about this moment. All right. Sean Curran, director of the Secret Service. And oh, by the way, he's wearing a sweater. Everyone else is wearing a tuxedo. I don't think he should be wearing a tuxedo, but he's not even wearing one of those, law enforcement jackets that they all put on. Those jackets that they wear. Hit it, please.
My name is Sean Curran. I'm the director of the Secret Service. Tonight, we saw exactly what our brave men and women do each and every day to protect our protectees. It's not easy, and I will tell you that they performed admirably. We got to see what they do, and that individual, when he charged a checkpoint, was apprehended. It shows that our multi-layered protection works, and I'm grateful to our partners that help assist us with building these sites and protecting these sites. Very fortunate that this officer is alive, is being observed, and I'm grateful that the President reached out to this officer and spoke with him earlier. I ask everybody to pray for him and all of our officers and agents that were involved, and I will tell you, we will continue with the mission.
Stop.
Thank you.
He's done anyway. Pray for him and all the officers involved. So this is the language. This becomes boilerplate language. Now, I hear people complain about this, thoughts and prayers when somebody is dead. Well, he's asking for prayers when nobody is even wounded. The bullet was stopped by a bulletproof vest. He had a bump, maybe a bruise. At that moment, why is he calling for prayers? Does that seem genuine to you? Or does that seem like a smokescreen? I think it's a smokescreen. I think it's hiding behind faith and hiding behind alleged bravery to avoid more important questions where the answers aren't pretty. If you're heading into summer without a medical emergency kit, you're taking a risk. Most people do not think about it until it's too late. Summer colds linger and can turn into sinus infections that last for weeks. Getting sick right before vacation can derail everything, and when you're traveling, finding a doctor and pharmacy is stressful. And that's why I ordered a medical kit. It's like having an urgent care and pharmacy right at home. It includes essential prescriptions like amoxicillin and a generic Z-Pak to treat a wide range of common and serious illnesses. So if you wake up sick at home or on the road, you already have what you need. No waiting for doctors, no hours at urgent care, no pharmacy lines, no co-pays. Just match your symptoms to the right prescription in your guidebook, or you can call the telemedicine doctor standing by. That's worth it right there. Start on your meds sooner and feel better faster. Every home needs at least one medical emergency kit. Order yours online in minutes and it ships to your door. And save $45 with my promo code Greg at urgentcarekit.com/Greg. That's promo code Greg at urgentcarekit.com/Greg.
Greg Kelly
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
A special shout out to Johnny Brennan of the Jerky Boys, a gifted performer on Family Guy, by the way. He's one of the voices, and a great comedian and musician, and you name it. He's also really a good handyman, and he happens to be a fan of this show. Johnny Brennan of the legendary Jerky Boys. I know people. I'll never forget where I was when I heard that tape, when I laughed my head off like crazy for the first time. I had never laughed like that up until that point in my life, and I don't think I've ever laughed like that since. And to Kamal, I know you guys are on the outs with each other, but Kamal, you were terrific too in that whole setup. Hey, how about this? Wait a second. Hold everything, everybody. One of Fauci's top aides has been indicted. Yes, his name is David Morenz. The DOJ has indicted Fauci's top advisor, David Morenz, Morenz, concealing records tied to the origins of COVID-19. The indictment accuses him of falsifying records to bury the lab leak theory and evading FOIA requests by using his Gmail. The pandemic led to one of the largest wealth transfers in history from working class Americans to the billionaire class. That's my friend, proud power to the people. I have to get a little bit more information on this. This is amazing. Wow. Accountability is coming. You know who's probably next? Fauci himself. Oh yeah, Fauci. He was using the Gmail. We're going to take a quick break, right? We got to take a quick one, and then we'll be back with this stunning information. I've got a video of this guy on Capitol Hill. I think it's pretty clear now he's been lying every step of the way. This is major. It's not the biggest name you remember from the COVID, but he was a very instrumental individual behind the scenes. And if this is true, well, it's a great day for America. David Morenz. I can't believe it. Hold on a second. I was just talking to Johnny Brennan at the Jerky Boys. I hope this is not a prank phone call. I hope this is not a prank. This is true. David Morenz. Hold on a second. Let me just find out this scientist. Yes. Former senior advisor to Anthony Fauci has been indicted. And we believe that he has information on Fauci. David Morenz and his co-conspirators allegedly falsified records in an effort to suppress the lab leak theory. I got banned from Facebook for that theory. Yeah, I did actually. And it was the truth. Banned for telling the truth.
Greg Kelly, entertaining and informative
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
So I am back, and this is checking out this David Morenz thing. Okay, indicted by the Department of Justice. Now, do me a favor. Let's go ahead and hit the sound. Play for me. COVID Part 1, if you don't mind. COVID Part 1. You'll hear a congressman, then you should hear David Morenz. Go ahead.
Applied to that testimony, and if you made false statements, you could be subject to criminal prosecution. Do you recall that?
Turn your microphone on.
Your microphone's not on, I don't think. Yeah.
Do I keep it on or only when I talk?
Whenever you're talking, yes.
Sorry, I remember you telling me, I think what you're referring to is telling me that even though I wasn't under oath, I was bound to tell the truth. Is that what you said?
Yes, and that you could be subject to criminal prosecution.
Yes, you told me that.
Okay. Today you are under oath, and we will be comparing your statements today to those you gave previously. The majority of my questions today will be simple yes or no questions. On April 21, 2021, you wrote, I can either send stuff to Tony Fauci on his private email or hand it to him at work or at his house. Did you ever send information related to COVID-19 to Dr. Fauci's personal email?
I don't remember if I did. I may have, but I certainly told him some things that he asked me to tell him about the situation with Peter.
Thank you. On May 13th, 2021, you wrote that you connected a reporter to Dr. Fauci via your secret back channel. What back channel did you have for Dr. Fauci?
Well, all these terms like secret back channel and the other one you mentioned were just jokes. They were just, jokes that I made in dealing with Peter because he was under death threats and was very depressed. And it was sort of the group of people who were Peter's friends were trying to cheer him up by making snarky jokes and euphemisms that were, not true. But there was no back channel. The back channel was, the back channel to Tony was the same one that it applies to everybody. And may I say...
Which is? Which is what?
Well, I'm going to tell you.
Okay.
Tony does not want me to connect anybody to him directly. And with one exception, a couple of weeks ago, I never did. But the back channel was a regular channel within.
Well, this is a guy who's busted, who's caught. And I have it right here. A former National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases employee is facing indictment for his role in a scheme to evade Freedom of Information Act requests in connection with the COVID-19 research grants. David M. Morenz, 78 years old, of Chester, Maryland, is charged with conspiracy against the United States, destruction, alteration, or falsification of records in federal investigations, concealment, removal, or mutilation of records, and aiding and abetting. Morenz served as senior advisor in the National Office of Infectious Diseases from 2006 to 2022. These allegations represent a profound abuse of trust at a time when the American people needed it most during the height of the global pandemic, said the acting Attorney General Todd Blanche. As alleged in the indictment, Dr. Morenz and his co-conspirators deliberately concealed information and falsified records in an attempt to suppress alternative theories regarding the origins of COVID-19. Government officials have a solemn duty to provide honest, well-grounded facts and advice in service of the public interest, not to advance their own personal or ideological agendas. Now, we have COVID number 2 all ready to go. You're going to hear a lot of voices on this thing. People like Bill Gates, people like some other globalists, including David Morenz. Go ahead and hit it, please.
Be an outbreak of another pandemic. It may be next year.
COVID was, for me, like a rehearsal.
We just need to mess around. There's a lot of lipid nanoparticles, and some are very self-assembly.
We know what's next. A new wave of pandemics is going to be upon us.
I'm convinced that there will be another pandemic.
Certainly we'll have one in the next 25 years.
There he is.
There's even some pathogens out there that we're watching over right now. And so I'd probably put bioterror, which is a really awful...
We are going to see a whole new age of biological weapons. We have to grapple with that reality because that is what is coming.
I can't go into all the details, but there are man-made threats that we were prepared to deal with.
When the next pandemic comes knocking, and it will, we must be ready to answer decisively.
We'll have to prepare for the next one. That, I'd say is... will get attention this time.
Very sinister and hinting at something ominous, perhaps. I know the music is pretty kind of interesting. Yeah, COVID-19. It came from that lab in Wuhan. They laughed you off the stage, and they banned you or soft banned you on social media. When the public officials deliberately circumvent the law to hide their communications from the public, they undermine the public's trust and the integrity of our institutions. This was especially true during the COVID-19 pandemic when transparency was needed most, said the U.S. Attorney Kelly O'Hayes for the District of Maryland. Our office will continue to hold accountable those who seek to evade their legal obligations for their own gain. Public officials who disregard their legal obligations undermine the transparency that keeps our federal programs strong. All right. As senior advisor, Morenz counseled senior official number 1, who I can almost guarantee is Fauci, and other senior level NIAID staff on senior level policies, developed recommendations and solutions for issues impacting the National Institute of Health, and wrote and edited manuscripts. Morenz also provided guidance and expertise to senior staff members on epidemiological studies, and issues related to infectious diseases, planning, and management. Additionally, Morenz gathered information from grantees and others in the scientific community to establish facts about the nature of COVID-19. Oh, yeah, we funded some of that stuff at the Wuhan lab. We did. We were writing. Now, we had it laundered through other groups, but we did. We funded that gosh damn research. Why? This enabled Morenz to understand NIH and NIAID's historical activities in coronavirus research, assist in formulating policy and procedures, and brief senior official number one so he could then relay information to the President of the United States, Congress, and the public. Now, according to the indictment, Morenz, co-conspirator number one and co-conspirator number two, and others conspired during the COVID-19 pandemic to defraud and commit several offenses against the United States. After NIH terminated co-conspirator number one's grant, NIH terminated the grant, understanding the risk of understanding the risk of bat coronavirus emergence based on allegations that COVID-19 emerged from the Wuhan Institute of Virology in Wuhan, China. NIAID awarded the grant to company number one and co-conspirator one, who made a subaward to the Wuhan Institute of Virology. Following the termination, Morenz and co-conspirator 2 pledged to help co-conspirator 1 restore the termination of the bat coronavirus grant and counter the narrative that COVID-19 leaked from a lab. They wanted to restore the grant? In anticipation of their communications and that they would be requested through FOIA, Morenz and co-conspirator number 1 and co-conspirator number 2 agreed in writing to intentionally hide from public view their communications by corresponding using Morenz's personal Gmail account rather than his official NIH email account. Now, if that sounds like quibbling to you, it's not. It's not. These guys are being paid by the public. They're using public facilities. They must use public systems because all of this is for us. And there will come a day when we want to see their work. If you want to talk about private stuff unrelated to work, have at it. That's what you use your Gmail for. Additionally, the indictment further alleges that Morenz and co-conspirator 1 conspired to pay illegal gratuities. The indictment states that co-conspirator number 1 gifted Morenz wine for his behind-the-scenes shenanigans and arranged for its delivery to Morenz's residence in Maryland. Morenz then allegedly identified an official act that he could perform to deserve the gift, which was a scientific commentary in a prominent medical journal advocating that COVID-19 had natural origins. The indictment further alleges that co-conspirator number 1 suggested he would provide Morenz with additional things of value, including meals at Michelin-starred restaurants in Paris, New York, and Washington. If convicted, Morenz faces a maximum penalty of 5 years in prison for conspiracy against the United States, a maximum of penalty of 20 years in prison for each count of destruction, alteration, and falsification of records. Actual sentences for federal crimes are typically less than the maximum penalties. A federal judge determines sentencing after considering U.S. sentencing guidelines and other statutory factors. An indictment is not a finding of guilt. Individuals charged by indictment are presumed innocent until proven guilty by a reasonable doubt, beyond a reasonable doubt in a court of law. Wow! Well, this is beautiful. I've been waiting for it, and here it is. I almost forgot about it. COVID-19. Wow. What they put us through. And the idea that they were conspiring, that these sons of bitches, and they did, they cared. They cared what people were saying about them on social media. I'll never forget, I had Fauci on my show. And I said, hey, man, point blank, do we have to worry about this thing? And he said, no, you don't have to worry about it. Phew. So I didn't worry about it. If I knew a global pandemic was coming down, I might have readjusted my plans a little bit. I'm looking live at the Capitol, and I guess we're expecting the king. I wonder, is that suit he's wearing pinstripe? Or the only thing I'd want to talk to the king about are clothes, to be honest. The man wears beautiful clothes. Here is President Trump with the king just this morning at the White House. Go ahead and hit it, Carlos.
My mother, I just see it so clearly. She loved, and I told the king this, she loved the royal family, and she loved the queen. And anytime the queen was involved in a ceremony or anything, my mother would be glued to the television, and she'd say, "Look, Donald, look how beautiful that is." She really did love the family, but I also remember her saying very clearly, "Charles, look, young Charles, he's so cute." My mother. My mother had a crush on Charles. Can you believe it? Amazing how, I wonder what she's thinking right now.
What a moment. And it's true. This is well documented. Mary Trump, I believe her name. One of the biggest television events happened when Donald Trump was 4 years old. It was the coronation. Up until that point, it was the coronation of Queen Elizabeth when she became queen, right? I forgot what happened. King George was her uncle or something like that, and then the other guy abdicated. Anyway, it was Queen Elizabeth. Let's find out when she actually, Queen Elizabeth. When did she become the queen? Was it 1950? No. Not that I care, to be honest. I just want to know what time President Trump was watching this on TV. When the hell did she become the gosh damn queen? It says when she was born. It says when she died. When did the queen become the queen? When did Queen II become queen? I'm asking ChatGPT. Let's see what happens here. Come on, man. That's an easy one. I was off by 2 years. February 6, 1952. President Trump would have been 5 years old when that happened. 5 years old, about to turn 6. That's old enough to remember, right? I remember stuff when I was 5. I remember stuff when I was 4. I remember stuff when I was 3. And before that, it's all a blank. So she loved it, and it was all broadcast live on television. It was one of the first global live TV events, the coronation of Queen Elizabeth. How things come full circle. All right, have a great day, King and President Trump, in our wonderful capital. We'll be right back.
Greg Kelly, entertaining and informative
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Hey, I just figured out what I'd actually talk to the king about if I happen to meet the king. He was a helicopter pilot. He flew helicopters. I say, what helicopter did you fly? Oh, yeah, huh? I flew the Harrier jet, a lot faster and cooler. But you guys built that, right? You had some role in it, in its design. That would be an icebreaker. 800-848-9222, 800-848-9222. Pat, hello, how are you?
Fine. I'm a little bit disgusted at this one man sitting there at that event Saturday. Everybody's underneath the table or running for their lives, and he's actually sitting there and eating, and he never mentioned him. Isn't that a sign of godlessness?
I saw that guy. Relax. The thing was already kind of what do you mean? I mean, I can't, man, nobody can win. Nobody can win. I see some people are being made fun of because they were under the table, right? This guy, if you ask me, he was being pretty cool. He's sitting there. It's cool. Everybody else is scared or leaving. He could ascertain that entire room. Why would that make you upset? He could see things that you couldn't see. You know what I mean? President Trump is already gone. He's out of there, right? Right? Why would you be upset by that?
Care. It's a sign that this whole society, most of us don't care, and unfortunately, there's godless people, and he's shown himself to be one of them.
You got to relax, Pat. You got to relax, and don't go away right now. DOJ indicts former FBI Director James Comey again, and he's indicted for the 8647 Instagram post, which was a threat against the President of the United States, him and his stupid shells. James Comey indicted for threatening the President of the United States, the former FBI director. That's a big, big, big deal. Couldn't happen to oh man, he so deserves this. How he got out of that other thing, what was it? Perjury, lying to Congress. Cool shell formation on my beach, 8647. Get rid of 47. That is a threat. All right. Finally, to you, Pat, you have to admit, he could see things that you could not see. You saw the stage behind him, which was empty, and you saw nobody at his table, right? I've seen the same video. And you see a man eating a meal. What's the big deal?
To show the whole world that this is a typical American. Everybody's running for their lives and hiding.
Pat, relax. Just relax. Everyone's running for their lives. Watch the rest of the night. Not everybody ran for their lives. People were under the table for a little bit, right? And then the president was out of there, Vance was out of there, and then things calmed down. I'm not sure. That could have been many minutes later. Did you see the video of the woman taking the wine? Did you see that one? Watch
Horrible.
it. Don't. Well, give me a break. Now we're going to give her a hard time, too. All right. I'm just telling you the intensity of the situation wound down. There are a lot of things to be upset about. That guy eating and is totally misplaced. All right. If you find that disgusting, you better, come on, lighten up, Pat. All right. That's not a big deal, but it is. I'll see you later. The DOJ has indicted the former FBI director, James Comey, for a second time. This is fabulous news. This SOB, boy, oh boy, oh boy. He basically ran a coup against President Trump. I wish they could get him for that. This is a lot simpler. I know that people will say that this is a silly indictment. 8647, is that a freedom of speech thing? I hope there's more in this indictment than just that. Now, let me go to the DOJ. James Comey was FBI director under Obama and under President Trump. President Trump fired him. He deserved to be fired. And then they had a federal investigation of President Trump for firing Comey. It was just, it was insane and totally unfair. But that's the way the swamp works down there. The first time, yes, it was a perjury case. Comey is from New Jersey. And he's a little bit of a crazy person because when he was a kid, and this can happen and you don't necessarily fall prey to it or fall victim to it. I know lots of people who have undergone childhood trauma and came out just fine, but there was a home invasion, right? Bunch of bad guys came into his house, beat him up, beat up his family. And ever since then, he's been, unusual. Did I tell you that he lied about everything, and he admits to lying about everything in his own book? He admits to lying about being on the basketball team. He admits to lying about his grades. He admits to lying. It's a very strange man. And then he puts it in his book. He talks about how important the truth is. The truth. Oh, by the way, I lied as an adult about being on the basketball team to my colleagues from law school. This man is a psychopath. And I hope they indict him again. James Comey. He led a coup against President Trump. He and that whole rotten bureau at the time. You guys, you thought you could fool a Trump or a Kelly?
Thanks for listening to The Greg Kelly Show. You can hear The Greg Kelly Show weekdays at 12:15 on 77 WABC. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?